it's time for us to go back to Ridgeway. So we leave. So the next time we come up, Granddaddy goes, I'm going to do my best Granddaddy imitation. Granddaddy goes, well, there were a lot of boxes out in that backyard. I said, yes, sir. And he goes, and somebody busted them up. And I'm beginning to see my light flash in front of my eyes. And he goes, I think it was you. And from the kitchen, the guardian angel went, Powell, we have talked about that and talked about that. It was that boy down the street, and you know it. After the first time, I realized there was a God.
Is that the thing Daddy got blamed for?
No, that
was another time.
Another one.
That was another.
No, he didn't get blamed for that.
Did you do everything that happened over there?
A lot of things that other people got blamed.
You know, when I got one here. Grandma and Granddad got these two old yellow cats, Tom and Jerry.
Oh God, yes,
and
I was there when they got
cats
them.
got quite large. And but they got quite large because Grandmother and I carried them to the vet to have them neutered. So while we was going to the vet, I had been playing along the railroad. Of course, that's where all good little boys play. And they had looked like 9-volt batteries. Well, they was that daggone long, and it's 22.5 volts for them radios the railroad men use. Well, you could turn them that way and stick them together, and they'd get warm. Ooh, I found out that's fun. That gets hot. Grandma, come on, Danny, we're going to the vet. Tossed them right in on that bedspread in that front room there, and a whole bucket of them, all plugged together. We come back and open the door, and the smoke come right on out. And she gathered up that bedspread, and we got that mattress flipped over and changed and cleaned up the smoke out of that room. For Granddad come home, she goes, we don't need to tell Granddad about that, do we? I burned that bed, it had a dandy hole right in that mattress. And she just, we don't need to tell him about that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love you, Grandma. I knew it was all over. So next, man, same cats, a couple weeks later, that big old whiskers, I just cut the whiskers off one of them cats, and he kept walking in and stuck Granddad beating my ass. So, I guess they'd come around.
Okay.
The derriere, remember?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, it was the back end. He worked on my butt there, cutting them
You
whiskers
should have
off.
blamed Dick for the fire.
Yeah, he just wasn't there. He just wasn't there.
They remember Grandma driving a car. She had a three-speed on the column.
Yes.
62 Plymouth Valiant. Yeah, and so she never knew what second gear was.
Yeah.
You know, he'd run it all the way up as fast as she could go in first gear, and then she'd put it in third. She'd just go right in the third, and the car would go, she used to look over at you and go like, I'm saving the clutch. She'd always do it when she'd be going up the hill. The car just go, that's true. We were at Grandma and Granddaddy's for Easter, and we're all wondering where the kids are. And we look out, and whose car was it? Sandy, whose car was it?
Oh, I think it was our car. It was my daddy's car.
Okay, and my brother Johnny's driving.
I remember that.
Like 4.
He's 4. He was older than that. Charlie was like 2.
That was in the back, yeah.
Charlie was in the back with his pulla.
And me, I was in the back with Charlie. Charlie was in the back standing up, sucking on his thumb.
Exactly, he had his pulla.
Yeah. And anyway, because
I was in the front seat with Johnny and bailed out.
where are the kids? I look out the window, I go, there they are. And they were driving the car
Down the driveway.
down the driveway and ended up in the rose garden.
Hit that big rock there.
Yes.
Johnny had maybe been about 8 or 7. Charlie was sucking his thumb. He was 2. I had been in the front seat with Johnny, and I had bailed, which was a really stupid thing to do, I know now. And then the 2 other kids, you and Charlie, were in the back seat.
I remember your dad just put a piece of plywood in the back of your car. And that's where you guys didn't have a seat or anything.
There was a piece of...
My dad did that too.
Oh, that was you put a mattress back here and you went to the drive-in movies. It turned it into a bed in the back.
Yeah, you know about that, don't you?
car driving, story, fact, or fiction. Can children that age drive a car?
Sure.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
But not well.
They made as far as the roads.
Dickie, go ahead.
Can I tell it just a
Yeah,
shorty?
you got it,
The
go.
minute you said Nancha boy, it made me think about the first time I ever saw Matt and Dick was when they came here to Powhatan to do a concert with the Bells.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And we were,
That's a true story.
I bet that.
there was in Oxon Hill where we grew up, there was a lady that who was a really excellent musician. She had a handbell ringing group well before anybody else. And gosh, we were in the White House. We went to England. Yeah, we went all over. We opened the Kennedy Center. And so she just died. She just died last year at 100.
We just call it the Ken Center.
Well, KC. We rebuilt the KC.
When you said car, you reminded me of the story.
Oh, hey,
Forgive me, one more.
that's okay.
When I was a boy, Dad rented the property on the other side of the creek. And I can't remember the name of the man, big barrel-chested man who built fence.
Oh,
Ivan Smallwood helped Dad build a bridge over this creek. And they put 3 logs down and planks that were about this thick. So it was substantial bridge. You could drive a tractor with a bush hog across this bridge. So it wasn't any little bridge. So as was her custom, Grandma Chris came over every Sunday afternoon. You probably got some visits from Granny Chris on Sunday afternoon, if you remember that. That was her time to visit and play checkers or whatever you wanted to play. So I don't know, George Hummer had some other event, so Granny Chris was at our house by herself, and she said, well, I've got to get home. Dad said, I'll take you. And Susan had a Volkswagen Bug at that time, 4 on the floor, as I remember. And Granny Chris got in the car, and he said to me or GC, he said, now you open the gates. What? And he went down through the barnyard, and we're opening the gates, and he turned left and went down through the field in this Volkswagen Bug. We got to the bridge, and you had to lift up the board so you could go across. We went across the board. Well, this field had rock breaks and gullies. We're going through the field, and if you know where it comes out, the German Dietrich, he's got that farm now, but it was just an open field then. We came out on 255 and turned on the road and took Grandma on home. And Grandma turned to Dad and he said, I'm never riding with you again.
Any more?
I got one. I got another story about the same car.
My car got rammed.
So, my oldest sister went to college to get an education, and
What, the education or in college?
and one of the boys she met at college told her, who's been to, she went to Shepherd College in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And like a lot of colleges that are in town, they've got speed bumps all over the place. And one of the boys that she met at college told her, well, you know, if you just don't slow down for the speed bumps, you don't feel them. And she said, you know, he's right. And so she went over all the speed bumps just full speed. And what he didn't tell her was that it wears out your shocks really fast. And she had the bumpiest ride in Volkswagen after a little while from that. True or false? I don't know. That's true.
Susan Drive.
Susan, whenever I get to a speed bump, I think we'll Susan thinks that you go over speed.
It's true.
Oh, Susan
got one good.
Oh, okay.
I will say that probably when John and I were dating, Daddy had a Mercedes-Benz. And I used to live at Somerville, and there, if you've been on that road in front of Somerville, there are some really great bumps on that road. And GC took Daddy's car out for some kind of evening activities.
I think it was the Rabbit.
Wrong car, it was the Rabbit. It was a Volkswagen Rabbit.
It was the Rabbit.
It was a Rabbit. He took out. And he gets home and he says, Dad, I bottomed out.
He didn't get home.
No, he didn't.
He called and I answered the phone.
We were looking at cars in Charlestown.
Okay, and
No, it
he
was
says,
2 a.m.
Dad, I bottomed out. And Dad's like, what do you mean you
He
bottomed out?
rolled over to Mom.
Yeah. And,
What does he mean when he said bottomed out?
and basically he had gone just slightly too fast over those bumps there.
They get gradually bigger, right? Each one in Somerville, and that last one.
The last one is the good one.
The hard one. Unfortunately, the oil pump in the Volkswagen Rabbit is in the pan. It's underneath of the block. So I crushed the oil pump. So
Yeah. So
it didn't get any oil. The oil light came on.
the thing that impressed my husband, John, was that George, Estep, just took it very cool, like, okay, son, well, are you okay? Are you hurt? And that was, he was impressed that he didn't get really excited, but he just was glad that you were okay.
And the reason was because my oldest sister had made that same call in the middle of the night in the past, so he knew how to deal with it. Oh, that was Sharon. I'm sorry.
I'm going to make a statement and you can either agree with it or not. I think that when I was growing up, that my parents and my grandparents were they were very loving and they had very high expectations and they kept us pretty much on the straight and narrow. But when inevitably that big thing happened, you always found out, they always handled it. That reminded me that they always were very quiet and supportive.
With grace.
Now, how many people would agree with that from our experience?
Amen, brother.
So I want to second that because one of my memories of this Pyne and Sipe reunion from when we were little children was our great uncles. Ed and Frank and Winston and Uncle John and all of those men were very upright, moral men, and we always began, as you did today, and I missed it, began with prayer. When we
Frank always said the prayer.
Frank would say
He was a lay
prayer.
preacher.
Frank and what was his wife's name?
Nina.
Frank and Nina, just very, very salt of the earth people. And so I, as a child, was just impacted by our larger family. So I think that all of you children that are here, you young people, have to be very grateful that you do have a family that is as supportive and as fine as this.
We gotta get out of here.
Debbie, how many years has this been going on? Or do you